it going? Marcel here.
And I'm Wes.
Welcome to E3 2018. It's over! Yay! So, we always come to this kind of episode where for the last, I think 3 years now, EA's conference is boring. But they got that one game under their new it's not even really new at this point, but their program, EA Originals, where it's always this indie game that is just, oh my god. It started off with...
It's like that one good thing that EA does amidst the pile of shit that is its microtransaction practice and all that shit. There's this one guy in fucking EA is like, I know we need to do like Star Wars and NBA and all that stuff, but can we just do one like little indie game? Fine, Johnson!
We'll make a program about it.
We'll make a fucking program.
So EA Originals,
as long as it makes us money, we don't care. They
grab together indie companies and work with them to bring their game to the mainstream. So it started off with Unravel, which is getting a sequel, by the way. It's actually already out. Then we got Faye, which is I think already out as well. A Way Out, which is definitely out already, and I do have it, but we haven't played it yet. And now with this one, it's Sea of Solitude.
Alone in my room, I tremble for you.
This is from Yomai, as she pronounced it, this Berlin-based indie studio, and it's one of those games where it's definitely one of those more experienced kind of games rather than look at all this shit you can do. Very like Limbo-esque in that regard, or like Inside or something like that. So it's going to be one of those like explorative games, and it's a lot more about the feeling of loneliness and just how emotions play into the visuals and into into the gameplay. So all we have is just one trailer. Let me hear your thoughts first on it.
Alright, so so the trailer shows our protagonist. Her name is Kay. Apparently she has become a monster due to her negative emotions, and this is how they've kind of corrupted her. And I believe that's what those giant monsters are. They're kind of just more of like a manifestation of her emotional struggles and all that stuff, and now probably the game is more about how you conquer and even more embrace those negative emotions via like probably some like fun boss fights and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Into like, to help her become human again.
Like my initial, because you just said it right. Yeah, she turned into a monster because of that. Not much of a terrifying design, to be honest. Of course, I don't think they were really going for that, but she doesn't look too like terrifying in her state. However, as you're saying, so your interpretation of all the other monsters you see in the trailer and stuff is that those could be manifestation of her emotions and what she's kind of seeing the world as. What I had gotten when I first saw the trailer, especially seeing it live, is that she was able to see others who felt the same way. Maybe they don't look like that to those who haven't been corrupted and turned into monsters, but maybe to her they look like that. Or they could also simply have been maybe turned into them as well. So they're kind of like her. She's in a room full of people who look like that, with the red eyes and shadowy looking. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to represent, but we'll see which of our interpretations actually comes to fruition when this comes out early 2019. So there's still quite a ways to go until it comes out, but I am excited. It looks really nice. One of the things that I was thinking about with my interpretation is the fact of how you got the giant sea creature, you got the big old crow-looking bird, and that's where I was like, maybe these are just things that she's seeing from her point of view because of how she's feeling and how that's turned her into what she is in the game. Then you see that very first shot where she's looking at her reflection and it tries to grab her and pull her into the water. So that's definitely one of her emotional struggles, internal struggles, being, visually shown right there. So that's part of what you're saying. That's your interpretation. So who knows if it's a combination of kind of what we're both thinking or if it's solely you or whatever. So maybe it's just left up to interpretation. Maybe we're not going to get the full answers even when the game actually comes out and we play it. So this is a bit of a short one because all we've got is the trailer to go off of, and one of the heads of the studio was talking about it before, prior to showing off the trailer. So it just comes from a place of how emotions impact, people and the world around you. So it's definitely one of those. It reminds me a lot of the indie game Bound on PS4. It kind of goes through a lot of the same stuff. It's again one of those visual games where you're just navigating stuff. Have you heard of that one?
I am not, no.
Yeah, I'll have to show you. I think I have the demo still, but it's one of those really cool, trippy kind of games. But it's got this real world underlying, there's a specific reason both in out of the game for the people who made it, and then in game there's reasons as to why it looks the way it does, and you're going through what you're going through, stuff like that. Very emotional and whatever else based. So it kind of gave me those kinds of vibes, but it looks cool. It looks really cool, and I wish EA themselves would be able to make games like that. They're only known as the sports and Battlefield guys and whatever else. So I don't know. That's not going to change, and we know that. We're not trying to say that they need to, but it would benefit them. I mean, not just for this program, but to actually.
Yeah, actually, I think it would be
come
beneficial.
up with good stuff.
Well, not to change their lineup, but just stop all the bullshit practices. We like to rip on EA a lot on this channel. And
I mean,
to be fair,
I
it's very
personally,
well
for one,
deserved. It's very well deserved hatred.
I don't always intend to do so because I don't just care about those games. So I rip on something I'm not going to fully. I don't even play. I don't give a crap about Battlefield. I don't give a crap about the sports games. It's like, for those who do, that's awesome. But I'm looking for those ones that spawn creativity. And if there's anything out there right now from them, or that they're attached to that has that, it's this. So it's like,
it's their EA originals. Otherwise, their creativity only really expands to how are we gonna get more money.
the creativity extends to how realistic does this guy's fucking arm hair look? This FIFA player.
More towards how can we make more money?
I'm just thinking. I'm trying
how
to
do we
creative.
get
I don't
more
care
out of
about
the
fucking-
player so that way we can get more out of the player?
But expectations for this, it's kind of hard to say again because we only have one trailer to go off of. But if they ever release another one down the line, I just hope that they do show more of how it seems to be very it's a third-person kind of a game. It looks very kind of platformer-esque, which is up my alley. But I know you're not going to be, collecting things and doing whatever, like Crash or Spyro or Mario or some shit. But it's not going to be like that. Not in the slightest, and that's fine with me. If it's going to be what I would like to call a 3D Limbo, because like I said, it invoked Limbo in me when I first saw the trailer, then I'm fine with that as well. I love those kinds of games, so I'm getting more into them that are just about the experience, getting to where you're getting to, and learning about the world and the characters through interactivity and stuff, and just, that's interesting as well. So I'm looking forward to what else visually they get to throw at us, what kinds of crazy creatures we'll see next, because there's some fucking weird, what would you even call it, that thing that rises up with the fucking long hair, like some kind of weird mermaid monster thing? What even was that? It was just this big thing with just dripping long hair and just roaring at her, and it's like, what the fuck is that?
Well, if it was Monster Hunter, you would change that thing's hair to white. It would have big giant horns. That thing would just be called Sedeus. I mean, it does look strange to me because obviously, Monster Hunter, I'm going back to Monster Hunter just a little bit. They do have a dick chicken.
Okay.
I'll
I'm not
show
gonna
you
question
later
it.
on.
Yeah. So,
It gets even better. It shoots electricity.
Those kinds of creatures in the trailer, I want to see more of. So,
a lot of them just look pretty normal. It's the one, the giant bird, the giant crow, looked kind of like a crow. But that hairy monster
it looked
thing,
cool.
Yeah, it did look cool. I'm hoping that's a boss battle, and it's a
looks
little bit more.
like it could be.
It looks like it could be maybe even more like a puzzle kind of boss kind of deal.
Like figuring out where it's going and kind of following it or something, maybe.
Yeah, or just leading it to places where you can do damage or something, but in a fun way.
Also, so like I was saying, if all those again in that room she's in, well, there's all these characters in there who look all shadowy. If that's just from her point of view, and there's really no one else actually like her in this state in that moment from the game, then will she come across anyone who's like that at any point? Not to where it becomes a weird co-op-y kind of a whatever game, but like, just will she find anyone else like that, or is this solely about her? Really, the game, like they were saying, is about finding out how she got the way she did and just how to change it back. So
will she have her own version of Wilson?
So we'll see about that.
To kind of keep her company, and then she loses her. She loses her version of Wilson after fighting like the hairy fish boss, and it's just like, Wilson, I'm sorry, Wilson.
Which they could do because it's EA. They probably have, that's their creative input. Put some
Put the Wilson volleyball in there.
Yeah.
We need to shove our fucking volleyball title in there.
She's gonna be chased by some guys giving guns. But no, okay. So they're just publishing. It's Yomei who's doing this themselves, and I want to see just more of the game. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. There's not much to talk about off of this trailer, but it looks interesting. So I'm all in. For verdicts, I give it a 4, I think, out of 5 right now.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
All right. Yeah. Would you play this?
I would. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot.
Because I'll definitely. I believe for as of right now, they didn't say if it's multi-platform. I'm going to assume that it is.
Yeah, no. If definitely would play this on the channel, I'll play it with you.
Nice. I wasn't even thinking about the channel, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So we'll probably update on that if anything else comes out. But until then, I'm Marcelo.
And I am extremely hairy.
It was Wes in the trailer confirmed. Who rose up out of the water.
Ah!
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 This is Trash Talk. I'll see you guys later. Take care.
Do you happen to have any marshmallows?